All right, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? What is up? Let's go, man. Back at it. Back at it. Yes, we are. Free agency frenzy is real. Lots to talk about today. Again, shocker, right? Honestly, kind of to me, it's a little bit of a shock. I mean, I know free agency isn't over, but I figured it would kind of die down at this point. But there is still so much happening. So much. We got signings left and right. We're going to talk a little bit about that number 1 overall pick. Got some cap situation talk. And some other interesting things as well. A lot of moves made today. I wouldn't consider this as small as yesterday's moves, but there's some good ones. There is some good ones to talk about. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Let's see who we got here. We got A-Rules per usual. What's up, my guy? Appreciate you. 2 Rams on our team. That's something. Can't wait for you to cover them. I absolutely will. Absolutely will talk about those 2. Brandon Powell and Troy Reeder. So that'll be interesting. We'll talk about it. I mean, yeah. Hey, it's all right. It's all right. However, that kick returner, was it Brandon Powell? Probably only going to be a kick returner. So there's still an open spot for Odell if he wants to, say hello to the great state of Minnesota. What's up, Pablo? Salute to you as well, my guy. Appreciate you. Absolutely. What's up, boxing? Let's go, my guy. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's a good question. Let me see. One sec. Okay, so Jalen Reagor's still with the Minnesota Vikings. I thought he was. Honestly, I could see us trading Reagor. I could, unless we plan on using him in the wide receiver room. But we'll talk about it here in a little bit. Let's see if we get any more peeps in the building. I'm sure we will. Why isn't that getting back to how it should be? Usually it's right on pace. Bruh. Why isn't that popping up? I don't know why that's not. It's kind of frustrating. Works just fine, and now here we are. I really want to get this figured out. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, A-Rules. I don't know. I don't understand why it's not. You know what? You know what? Man, I really don't want to mess with it too much. Gosh darn it. Okay. We're gonna. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Boom. Add source. What's up, Gary? What's up, Gary? That still don't make no sense to me. What is going on? This is just a bunch of baloney. You'd think it'd sync up by now, but guess we gonna have to deal with it. That's kind of a bunch of mumble. If it continues to say 0, I'm just gonna turn it off. But we have a lot to dive through today, so I think we're gonna get started. If that continues to say 0, which is completely wrong, okay, completely wrong, then I'm just gonna hide it and just kind of go from there. We'll figure it out. It's not that big of a deal, but usually it likes to link up today. However, it's saying not a chance. Not a chance. All right. Come on, baby. Just update. That's all I ask. No? All right, let's pause music. Let's get down to business. Let's get down to business, shall we? Shout out to everyone tuning in right now. Make sure to drop that like, subscribe to the channel. We got 5 in here, 5 likes. Kind of seems like things are adding up. No, not definitely not going to be restarting the stream. We are here. It is live, and that is all I care about. That is all I care about. Okay? I don't understand why it's not linking up. But actually, how about this? How about I do this? Boom. We'll keep it hidden until I see that it has changed on my screen. All right, so a lot has happened today, folks. We're going to start off with the number 1 overall pick with the Carolina Panthers, what they might be doing ultimately in the end. And it's kind of interesting because this was their number 1 overall pick. A lot of people already kind of knew who they were going to go with or what they're going to go with. Obviously, it's going to be a quarterback, okay? But the people were torn between C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young. Which one are we going to sign? However, this kind of makes it, or this tweet right here kind of paints the picture a little bit more clear for us, because it seems like per Tom Pelissero that C.J. Stroud might be the number 1 overall pick. The Panthers met with Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud on Tuesday in advance of today's pro day during throwing session, and plan to have another private meeting with Stroud before the draft in Charlotte. Per sources, a thorough process as Carolina ponders the number 1 overall pick. Now, granted, this does not mean anything at all. It does nothing. Okay, so don't think right off the bat, oh, C.J. Stroud automatic lock for number 1 overall pick. However, in my opinion, the way this kind of sounds, right, is they met with him, which is normal. You're going to meet with potential number 1 overall picks. You're just going to do that as an organization. You have to. But when it says they plan to have another private meeting with Stroud before the draft, that little piece of information right there tells me Carolina's going with C.J. Stroud. Plain and simple. That's kind of what it sounds like anyways. Okay, we like what C.J. Stroud brings to the table. We're going to have a private meeting. That's our guy. That's what you got to be thinking. But obviously, they're pondering that number 1 overall pick. They could go Bryce Young. A lot of people question his size, how big he is and stuff like that. Can he take an NFL hit? Well, I mean, he did play against Georgia, okay? He lived, okay? He's just fine. He can still do things incredibly. But right now, this tweet right here kind of tells me C.J. Stroud's going to be the number 1 overall pick for the Carolina Panthers, and that's okay. I like the pick. I think whoever goes 1, I would like it, whether it's C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young. I think that would just make the most sense. I thought I was going to hide this. Okay. Boom. Oh, I suppose I can't until – I just don't understand why that's not linking up. But whoever goes number 1, I won't care, okay? I think it'd be a great selection either way. You don't know if it's going to be a good selection until probably midway through the season where you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I understand why that happened. I understand, this guy's way better than, Will Levis, for instance. Let's say, oh, yeah, by the way, Bryce Young, way better than C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud got drafted number 1 overall. But that's hypotheticals later on in the season. But as it currently stands, that tweet right there by Tom Pelissero kind of tells me that the Carolina Panthers are leaning towards C.J. Stroud to be the number 1 overall pick. And it makes a lot of sense. It really, really does. I'm just going to hide this so I don't have to mess with it no more. Hey, no problem, A-Rules. No problem. You finished that movie. What's up, Gary? Gary? You said, what am I doing? You're getting your fix. You are getting your fix. Like everybody. Let's move forward. All right. Former Lions Austin Bryant signs with the 49ers. Why didn't I... That just seems a little bit ridiculous. I forgot what... Okay. I forgot to mark down what position he was. Austin Bryant. Defensive end. Okay. Former Lions defensive end Austin Bryant signs with the San Francisco 49ers, I believe, as a depth piece. He was a 4th-round pick in 2019, and he played 33 total games in the NFL up to this point. So like I said earlier, going to be a depth piece. It's just kind of helping out that defense a little bit, getting to the 93 people, I think, is what you start with when you enter training camp and stuff like that to kind of fight for jobs. This is a decent signing, obviously. The teams need to shore up their depth chart and kind of mold it the way they want it molded and see if they can make the right decisions and like see if they can make the right selections during this free agency period. That is kind of what that signing is. Not too big of a deal at all. So let's move forward because he only played 33 games. Don't really know too much about him other than he's a backup, okay? Plain and simple. That's all you got to know is that he's a backup. All right. Next thing or next point of emphasis, just kidding, point of clarification. We're going to talk a little bit about the Vikings cap space and what kind of is circulating around that whole situation. And then we'll bounce over to their 2 picks that they have. I could say this for A rules. He's going to be back here in 30 minutes. All right, we're gonna skip the Vikings cap situation. I want to make sure A rules is in the building to listen to that because he is a Vikings fan. If you guys are Vikings fans in general, hop on over to Minnesota Vikings Syndicate 2.0 and make sure to watch some videos, subscribe, and all that good stuff. So let's bounce over the Vikings. Let's talk about Jonah Williams. If you don't remember, the Cincinnati Bengals ended up signing offensive tackle Orlando Brown. Now get it? If you don't understand, Orlando Brown is a starting left tackle in this league. They signed him to a massive contract. That was a while ago, wasn't it? That was a while ago. I want to make sure I have the exact number for you guys just because that was a big signing. Right there. Boom. So the Cincinnati Bengals ended up signing Orlando Brown to a 4-year, $64 million deal, including a $31 million signing bonus. So right when that happened, okay, exactly like the exact moment that happened, Jonah Williams, who is currently the Bengals starting left tackle, said, well, what about me? What are you guys planning on doing with me? I'm your left tackle. You just signed a left tackle. Like, do you expect me to move to right tackle? The Bengals probably did. Maybe he's just going to switch over and we're going to have this offensive line cooking and headed in the right direction. But he was like, you're not offering me any contract extension or anything like this. I'm your guy, and now you just kind of are throwing me away, to say the least. So he was like, you know what? I'm going to tell my agents to try to give me permission, or at least tell the Bengals, hey, I request a trade. That's exactly what he did. So these trade talks are ongoing. But here is a report from Ian Rappaport surrounding the Jonah Williams situation, left tackle for the Cincinnati Bengals. He said the Bengals have had trade conversations centered around left tackle Jonah Williams, sources say. As the interest heats up in the player who has 47 career starts, Williams requested a trade following the signing of Orlando Brown. And since he has heard from several possible suitors. Now, I did watch a video on this as well, and basically what it laid out is, yes, okay, they have received trade, not really offers, because I don't think an offer has been made, but trade talks, okay? They've received trade calls from other team, kind of piquing the interest. What is it going to take to get Jonah Williams? How can we make this work? Blah, 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 and stuff like that. But Ian Rappaport laid it out where, look, as much as it's heating up, it doesn't seem like anything is imminent. Nothing is going to happen within the next day or two. This is kind of a slow-moving process because there are teams out there that need a left tackle. Jonah Williams is a decent one, okay? You're going to get good quality reps out of this guy, and any offensive line would like to have him. Any organization would like to have him, unless you already have a guy at left tackle, okay? So another thing to think about, right, is the reason why there's so many teams calling him is because when you find an offensive line or an offensive lineman that's somewhat worth a damn, okay, you want to bring him in the building. You have to, because the offensive line, the game is won in the trenches. The offensive line is hard to find guys that have longevity, that are consistent, and guys that can, plain and simple, block guys like Aaron Donald, J.J. Watt, Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa. I mean, the list literally goes on. You have to be able to do those things, and it's hard to find those guys. I think Jonah Williams has the capability of being that type of guy. So there's definitely going to be trade talks around him and trade offers and stuff. I'm just not sure if the Bengals are ready to move on from Jonah. Maybe they force him to go to right tackle, or he just doesn't play this season. But it is kind of they kind of stabbed him in the back with signing Orlando Brown, right? Left tackle. It's like, okay, well, what about me? And that's kind of what this situation boils down to. Jonah Williams might be on the move. It's probably not imminent, like Ian Rappaport said. He has 47 career starts. But again, this man is looking for a new home because the Bengals stabbed him basically in the back. Basically in the back. That's kind of what that situation boils down to. Let's see if this is working yet. Nope. Of course it's not. I don't understand why that's not syncing up. That makes no sense to me. No sense to me whatsoever. Hey, what's up, my guy? Head Oliver, yo. Why do I? Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Okay, I know what you are talking about. But that's the whole situation right now about surrounding Jonah Williams and what it might potentially happen with him. The Bengals have received offers. Nothing is imminent, but it's possible that he does get dealt or traded within the next week or two. So we'll stay tuned for that whole situation. Next up, this was a big one. Remember, the New England Patriots decided to release Jalen Mills not too long ago. I believe a day or two ago. Yes. Yes, he was. Right? Because, what was it, 2 years ago, he was getting sacked left and right. He had that gruesome injury. And things weren't going well at all. They needed to fix that offensive line, especially after that Super Bowl run where you could tell it was a clear problem. That's why the Rams won the Super Bowl. It's because the Bengals' offensive line wasn't great. So then this past offseason, they tried to do everything in their power, signing Terron Armstead and stuff like that to boost that offensive line. It did not work. It did a little bit, but it looked like the same offensive line like it did when they had their Super Bowl run. It wasn't great at all. Okay, so they needed to fix it. I don't know what they're doing. I think, it sucks because I understand where Jonah's coming from. I do, because you're just getting stabbed in the back. But if you think your team has a legitimate chance at making another run at a Super Bowl, potentially, why not stay and just switch sides? Why not? Or move to guard, whatever the case may be. But they did need Orlando Brown, to Boxing's point. They needed him in a big way, and I'm glad they did. But now you're dealing with a whole nother situation with Jonah Williams. But moving forward, all right. Remember we talked about New England Patriots releasing Jalen Mills, defensive back or corner, which was a kind of a big move because he's been decent. He hasn't been great, but he fits the Bill Belichick scheme. He fits the New England Patriots organization to a T. He's perfect over there, right? But we weren't sure what was going to happen with his market. There's teams that need him. There's teams that would really love to have his talents, if you will. However, after getting released, okay, this is per Jordan Schultz, per the Schultz report. He said Jalen Mills is re-signing with the New England Patriots. Sources tell at The Score the day after his official release, Mills accepts an offer to return. I'm also told he plans to go back to safety next season. Okay, in 2020 with the Eagles, Mills had 74 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, and 1 interception at free safety. Great move. Fantastic move on Jalen Mills' part. I'm sure he probably wouldn't be a New England Patriot if he didn't decide to move to safety. That's just kind of what I'm thinking because I don't believe he had a great year at defensive back. Where safety, you can kind of have a chance to take a breather, step back and see what's going to happen, right? That's kind of what the whole situation is that he can just relax and digest things a little bit slower and make plays, whether that's getting an INT or whether that's, all these tackles and stuff, helping the run game or helping stop the run game, I should say. This tackle for losses. I mean, this is where he's going to excel at. I'm glad he made the move, and I'm glad New England decided to keep Jalen Mills in the building. I believe, yes, it's a 1-year deal up to $6.1 million. So it's probably, if I had to assume, it's probably like a $4 million deal signing, or $4 million deal. He probably can earn like $2 million, maybe $1.5 million in incentives. That's kind of probably what this deal looks like. I haven't seen the exact compensation, but I do know it's 1 year up to $6.1 million for Jalen Mills going back to the New England Patriots. Fantastic. Let's see if this is working yet. Probably not. Nope. Okay. But yeah, that is the whole situation right now with Jalen Mills going back to New England. But he's also making a switch, going to safety. I'm sure since he played free safety, that is kind of where he's going to go back to. If we look, let's go look at New England Patriots depth chart. That is what we're going to look at. Because I want to see who their free safety and their safety is currently. Oh boy. Not a smart choice. Because the New England Patriots have Kyle Duggar at strong safety, and Jabril Peppers at free safety. I don't see Jalen Mills get many starts unless he's the nickel corner. Then that would make sense, unless they run a 3-safety set. But at the same time, I don't see that happening as well. Because currently Jalen Mills is listed as second on the depth chart behind Miles Bryant on the right cornerback position. He should have just stayed a corner, man. I don't know if Miles Bryant is that much better than Jalen Mills, but Jalen Mills back with the New England Patriots. He's moving to safety. We'll see how this kind of pans out for him. I don't think he should have moved to safety, but maybe Bill Belichick said, hey, man, this is where you're going to thrive. This is probably where you're going to have the most success. So go ahead and make the switch. So Jalen Mills back to the New England Patriots. Okay, moving forward, because I want to wait for A Rules to get in here. Once he's back in here after finishing up his movie, we're going to talk about the Vikings. But until then, let's move forward and talk about Mr. Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos. Okay, last season, the Broncos are supposed to be on top of the world. Okay, they were supposed to be a fantastic team. Russell Wilson, oh my God, what are we going to do? We have Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick. This team's going to make some moves, okay? We're going to be good. We're going to be really good. Defense is flying around making plays with Patrick Surtain, Bradley Chubb. Oh, wait, they got rid of him too. But we're making moves. Nathaniel Hackett turned that place into a dumpster fire, didn't know how to run an offense, didn't know how to run a team in general, and he gets canned. They have a terrible season. I believe they ended, 7-9 or something like that, just maybe even worse than that. If I can't remember off the top of my head. They missed the playoffs. What's going on? What happened to Russell? Some of this was Russell's fault. Some of this was Nathaniel Hackett. Well, it turns out Russell Wilson was dealing with a couple of injuries. Now, I heard from the host of Denver Broncos Syndicate, Gage Madrid, where Russell Wilson was actually dealing with like a partially torn, a partially torn hamstring? I don't think it was hamstring, but it was something partially was torn in his leg, and he continued to play through it. And by the end of the season or something like that, it was like fully torn or like something. No, it wasn't fully torn. It was still partially torn, but there was a lot more damage that was done to his leg and to his ribs and stuff like that. And he was dealing with stuff. Now, there's no excuses, but Russell Wilson continued to play the game. However, per Ian Rappaport, right here, this is kind of an interesting piece of news. Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson had arthroscopic surgery on his right knee following 2022, a procedure to fix an issue that had nagged him for a few seasons. He is back working out and throwing after the minor scope and would be fine for OTAs. He'll be at full health for 2023. That is great news for Denver Broncos fans, for that organization, and for Russell Wilson, man. Okay, he's been banged up these last, 2-3 years, and he's been doing everything he can to stay healthy and just continue to ball out and be Russell Wilson. He'll be back for OTAs, should be fine anyways. Probably keep him on a limited basis, but for sure training camp rolls around. Here we go. Russell Wilson show. He's going to be fully healthy. This means good news for Denver Broncos, for the Denver Broncos anyways. It kind of makes you wonder what type of season they're actually going to have, because last year, let's see. I'm going to look at Russell Wilson. Last year, the Denver Broncos, obviously, we already talked about it, was not great. Yeah, a lot of these articles are coming out already. Going to be 100%. Let's go. Russell Wilson, 3,524 passing yards, 16 tutties, 11 interceptions, 84.4 quarterback rating. Probably his worst season. Yep, definitely his worst season by far throughout the NFL. Now, a year ago in 2021 when he was with the Seattle, he had less yards, 3,113, but he had more touchdowns, less interception. He had 25 tutties, 6 interceptions, 103.1 QBR. Now, that's definitely due to the fact that, A, he was hurt, and B, he had Nathaniel Hackett as his head coach. Okay, Russell Wilson can still ball. He just needs to be healthy, which it sounds like he's going to be this upcoming season. Can't wait to see what Denver does. It'll be exciting. Yeah, boxing. Absolutely. They were definitely tipping. They were tipping that Denver Broncos are going to be Super Bowl contenders and all this because they got Russell Wilson. And then you watch their season go along, and it's like, one-score game. What is going to happen? Like, can we amp it up a little bit? Like, those were some of the most boring games I've ever watched in my life. Not joking. At all. Like, I even streamed one or two of them, and I was sitting here like, what are we? I decided to stream this game. Like, probably shouldn't have. I think it was Broncos Chargers. I could be wrong, but I know I streamed one of the Broncos game, maybe a couple of them, and every time it was just a Just a dumpster fire. An absolute dumpster fire. So we'll see what happens with Denver, man. They haven't had success since Peyton Manning went there, and I'm sure they could use a little bit of that. Bro, yeah, no, they were terrible. It was so bad. If there's a team that does that this year, not a chance. Unless they're playing like a high quality team like the Chiefs or Chargers, not a chance. I stream it. Not a chance. I ain't gonna go in there and watch two dumpster fires battle it out. I mean, I might just for the views, maybe get some subs here and there. But that's a business decision, okay? That's a business decision. Put years on my life watching them, bro. Try being a Vikings fan. Try being a Vikings fan. That takes years, maybe a whole decade off your life. I swear, this season was absolutely bananas, and I hated it. I hated every second of it. Why isn't this working? Makes no sense. Let's see if it'll pop up now. I'm trying to get this view count working again because it is just, for some reason, decided, yeah, no, we're not going to work today. And I said, oh, really? Okay. Sick. Maybe if I do this. Yeah, we went 12-4. It was a great season, but all those one-score games, the 31-3 comeback or whatever the hell it was. I mean, the largest comeback in NFL history. You're looking at the Buffalo Bills game. Justin Jefferson has an absolute phenomenal catch. I mean, things were just cruising. It was fantastic, but at the same time, oh my God, can we just blow them out for once? That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. I didn't want to sit here on the edge of my seat and it was just, yeah, it was brutal, man. It was brutal. It is what it is, though, right? It is what it is. All right, let's move forward to the Washington Commanders. This franchise has been through some shit lately, to say the least. Okay, they have been through some razor wire as of recent. And it all started back when John Gruden, or when the FBI decided to invade the Washington Commanders organization, look through emails, over 600,000 of them, I believe, or something like that. And they found a couple interesting ones with John Gruden and stuff like that. I think that was the Raiders situation, but it was happening in the Washington Commanders like area or whatever. And that whole situation pans out. Then we go to middle of the season, or you can start with the whole name change and stuff like that. But then they go to the middle of the season. And we're seeing these videos, right? People getting drenched from poop water, or so they say. Water or pipes were bursting in the stadium on fans. Gross. Very, very gross. Then we have Jalen Hurts jogging back into the tunnel to go to the locker room, and the railing derails, basically almost nearly ending his career. Probably would have snapped his knee. We would have never seen Jalen Hurts again. They probably wouldn't have went on that Super Bowl run. And you know what they did to fix it? They zip-tied the sumbitch. They zip-tied it. Oh, it's good. It'll stay. Like, okay, maybe, but if you get a couple rowdy fans, like 10, 15, 20 pushing, probably going to fall down again if I had to assume. I don't know. I don't know how strong zip ties are. I do know they're pretty durable, okay? But you never know. But that's what they did. And then we go into the offseason. And we start hearing little bits of information surrounding the Washington Commanders owner, Dan Snyder, in what sounds like he was doing a little bit of, interesting things with their books, with their finances, keeping two separate books, which, by the way, very, very illegal. Can't do it. That means he was hiding some type of revenue, hiding something. And just so happens that he was doing exactly that. He was hiding money. Okay, he was holding money and hiding it from other owners of NFL teams, which I guess at a certain point at the year, everyone comes together, you talk about your revenue, and then like whatever's access or something like that gets spread evenly throughout all the teams and stuff like that. But he was hiding this revenue and keeping 2 books, and it was also said that he was charging, or they were charging NFL price tickets at a college event or something like that, but then pocketing the money of basically what the difference was between a college game and an NFL game. I could be completely wrong, but that's kind of what I was already like, what I've heard, and that is the rumors and stuff. So you don't have to believe me, but that is kind of the whole situation on what actually was going on in Washington. So there was a big question, and I said it loudly. I said, get him the hell out of the NFL. We do not need a scumbag like this in the National Football League. There was workplace misconduct. He was taking, nude photos or something like that of the cheerleaders, just being an absolute scum. And he is a billionaire, okay, because he thinks he can get away with everything because he has the money. Sorry, sir, but you really can't. You're probably going to lose your franchise. And that was a big talk. I wanted him out of the NFL, and it didn't matter to me that him and Roger Goodell are best friends because, frankly, you can't support someone that does something like that. You just can't. You got to tell them, hey, look, man, you made a mistake, but thanks for your ownership of the team, but your ass is grass. See you later. How you doing? Keep it moving. And it took a little while, right? Dan was dead set on, nope, we ain't selling the team. I don't have to, because the teams have to vote on him, or the other owners have to come to a 2/3 agreement or consensus that, yep, we're going to let him go. Okay, we're going to kick him out, and then we have to find a new owner, or we're just going to have to force him to sell it or something like that. And there was that little period of time where he went to an island with no internet because he was supposed to go in front of a hearing in a court with Roger Goodell and said, I can't make it, sorry about it. And I can't remember that whole situation. I did cover it last year or something like that. But a lot of weird stuff is happening in that Washington Commanders office, right? So you're looking at this like, okay, so what's going to happen? Well, the first thing that needs to happen is that Dan Snyder needs to list this for sale. That he needs to get out of this. And what was it, last week or early this week? Apparently, all the owners, all the higher ups of Dan Snyder's party, basically packed up their offices, got their shit, and left. Okay, sign one that they're selling the team. And it's already been in the works a little bit. They've kind of tried to have pitches be brought to them and stuff like that, and what's going to happen. And nothing has came of it until this piece of information decided for real. This piece of information came out. Gonna butcher his name, but frankly, don't care. Okay. Adam Schefter said Canadian billionaire Steve Apostolopoulos. I seen that name earlier and I was like, what in the world is that? Like, what kind, whatever. Okay. It is what it is, but Apostolopoulos, I couldn't tell you, but if that's the owner, oh my God, good luck saying his name. He has become the newest potential bidder to tour the Washington Commanders stadium and training facility as he seeks to buy the franchise's, league sources told at Windhurst, ESPN, and Adam Schefter. Okay, so we might have a potential sale in the works for Washington. Now, what this tour is basically doing for Steve, not saying that again, for Steve is he's going in there, he's going to get a tour of the building, okay? What do we need to fix? Well, probably going to need a new training facility, okay? Going to need it. You see the new ones that are being built. You want players to come, vets to come. You want to be a good franchise, start there, okay? You need that. Second of all, you definitely need a new stadium. Definitely. Okay, remember FIFA? When they were having their tournament, they decided, I believe it was FIFA. No, it wasn't FIFA. It was, FIFA. When they said we're going to have a tournament and it's in the next couple of years or whatever, they pulled their bid from Washington. They said, not a chance we're playing in Washington. No way in hell. No way. We are going to Washington. And so right then and there, that's a red flag. Okay, you're going to need a new stadium. You're going to need a new training facility. You might need to change the name. You might. And I only say that because of all the crap that has surrounded the Washington Commanders franchise, the Washington franchise in general. You kind of want to erase it, right? You kind of want to get rid of it, put it in the past, and rebrand it. Make it your own, Now, I know they went through the whole rebranding process, and we don't want to go back to the Washington football team in whatever case. But if you're an owner, or if you're a potential owner, and you're trying to buy a team, in my opinion, I think you're going to go into that situation knowing that you might have to change the name, or you don't want to. But if you know you want to, you're already going to have a couple options. But we heard about the whole processes of them changing it from football team to Commanders and how long that took because they had to go through the city, ask people questions and stuff like that. Oh my goodness. To really narrow it down, and they came up with Commanders. I would rather have Washington football team. That's just my opinion. And then they have what? Commander Porky or whatever the hell their mascot is. Like, what are we doing? I understand the pig thing or whatever is like a part of their franchise back in the day with like their offensive line or something like this. But dude, I have got to take care of this. I'm coming off screen for a second. God, that was bugging the shit out of me. I couldn't deal with it, man. If it's going to bug me more, I'm going to have to blow my nose or something like that. Just a little tickle. Anyways, so like Steve, in this case, is probably going to have to figure something out. He's going to have to go in there with knowing that these facilities are trash and expecting nothing less. If there's something that catches his eye and he's like, "Ooh, I like that," then they'll probably keep it. But I think you need a new training facility. You're definitely going to need a new stadium. We've seen renderings of what that might look like. That is completely false because obviously that is still when Dan Snyder was in office or as the owner for the Washington Commanders. So it's all going to depend on what Steve wants to do and how they want to go forward. This is not set in stone. Okay, he's not buying the franchise, but he is probably the top runner for being the new owner of the Washington Commanders. So it's going to be interesting to see what they kind of do with their franchise going forward. If you guys had to choose, if you could go back, what would you think or what would you say would be the best name for the Washington Commanders? Hey, what's up, Lloyd? Appreciate you. It's going fantastic. Just talking some football. Lots happening, man. A lot is happening. Like, I'll show you the paper real quick. I mean, we're talking all filled and basically half filled. We have got a lot to dive through. But what would you think, chat? Let me know. What would you have gone with for Washington? I would have kept the Washington football team. Especially if there was going to be a potential sale that was going to happen, right? It would just make sense. Hey, what's up, A-Rules? Let's go, my guy. Yeah, it probably would cost him a couple billion for redevelopment, but at the same time, like, he has the money, right? He's a billionaire, Canadian billionaire. Potentially. So this team has been through turmoil. Their owner was like, he's just a scumbag. He has taken pictures of his cheerleaders. Not great pictures, to say the least. He was keeping 2 separate books, hiding revenue from owners so he didn't have to share anything. He was selling college football tickets for NFL ticket prices and then pocketing the difference. So like if there was a ticket that was $10, but in the NFL it was worth $20, he was pocketing 10 of it. So he was kind of doing some scummy little work behind the scenes, so he's having to sell the franchise. And I'm kind of thinking, like, since they've been through so much, like, you might want to consider changing the whole name and changing like everything about that franchise to kind of leave it in the past and kind of move forward in the right direction. Oh yeah, hey Rose, you came in an interesting part. We're talking about the Washington Commanders, where I'll show you they're potentially selling their franchise, but this is what is kind of happening. I guess Steve Postolopoulos, I don't know how to say his last name, but he's become the newest potential bidder to tour the Commander Stadium and training facility as he seeks to buy the franchise. So we're kind of talking about maybe you're definitely going to need a new stadium, definitely going to need a new training facility, and maybe a rebranding, maybe because they have Commander Porky as their mascot or whatever it's called. I have no idea. Canadian, eh? Yeah. Just Washington is simple, has no cheesy name, is the best option. What do you mean by that? Just like Washington or Washington football team. I mean, I was okay with Commanders. I'm not going to say I wasn't, but I didn't. There were so many better names. I thought there was better names. Oh, big time. Big time. Okay, yeah, Washington football team, simple, easy. I know John liked it. But Washington probably, no, most likely going to sell their team. This is not set in stone yet, but this is a potential bidder and somebody who seeks to buy the franchise. Washington might be moving, but we'll see what happens on that front. We will see. All right, A Rules, you are back in the building. I have been waiting for this, but before that, linebacker Anthony Walker re-signs with the Cleveland Browns on a one-year deal. Let's go. Congratulations to Anthony Walker. Going back to the Cleveland Browns, I guess he had talks with some other teams and really didn't, nothing really happened. In the end, he wanted to sign back with the Cleveland Browns. So let's go for Anthony Walker. But now it's time to talk a little Vikings football. How about them apples? Okay, we're going to talk about the Vikes because we have some interesting things happening. Some interesting things. We're going to start with their cap situation. Then we're going to bounce over to what just happened today. 3 signings. Okay, 3 signings. Let's talk about their cap, though. Yesterday, we learned that they were about $10 million over the cap. They needed to still clear some space and kind of restructure some things and figure it out. Like, how are we going to figure this out via the draft? Or how can we sign more players in free agency? How is this all going to work out? How are we going to map it out? Well, currently, this is kind of what we did, a little salary cap finagling, or kind of working the cap is what we were kind of doing, trying to get to add some. So this is what we did per Field Yates. The Vikings were able to fit defensive end Marcus Davenport in the $6.2 million cap hit under the cap yesterday by officially processing safety Harrison Smith's restructured contract. Now Smith's new deal shaved $7.3 million off of his prior cap number, with Minnesota hovering around $2 million in cap space. How you doing? Keep it moving, okay? We're doing well. We have $2 million in cap. Sign them all now, okay? Still not enough. All right, so we have $2 million in cap space. What are we going to do with that money? Well, we decided to go make a couple signings. The first of which was a guy from the Rams. They're both from the Rams. We'll just say that. Is a wide receiver / kick returner. It is, boom, right here. Former Rams free agent wide receiver Brandon Powell reached an agreement today on a 1-year deal with the Minnesota Vikings per source. Powell will be reuniting with former Rams offensive coordinator and Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell. Did I delete that? I did. Son of a nutcracker. Okay. This is a decent signing for Minnesota. I liked it. Yeah, he's decent. He's like, do we really need him? He honestly might just be a training camp piece. Like, can he fight for the job? Because we still do have Jalen Reagor, but it didn't seem like his punt returning was that great last season. It definitely could have been way better, but it wasn't. He was a decent returner. Nothing fantastic for the Rams last season. Didn't really play too much on the offensive side of things. He did have like 100 yards receiving, had some rushing yards here and there, but he was mainly a returner. So I think that's kind of what the Minnesota Vikings did in bringing him in. Was like, okay, potential kick returner with Kene Nwangwu, and then you're looking at maybe punt returner if the Vikings decide to trade Jalen Reagor to kind of clear up a little bit more cap space. I'm not really sure how much that would clear up. Let's see. Jalen Reagor contract. I want to see how much his salary cap hit is. Because if we traded Jalen Reagor or got rid of him, how much would that clear? Because he's under contract with us till next season. Oh, boy. What does that mean? Okay. So he's only $2.4 million cap hit. Okay. So not bad, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, I think we should too. It wouldn't be a bad idea, in my opinion. Because you never know. He could all of a sudden just turn out, but we've been saying that for the past 3 years now, and nothing's really come of it. Like, he hasn't been great at all. So, Kene Nwangwu, he's a stud. He's going to stay back. They had that touchdown last season, had one prior to that or something like that. But look, this isn't a decent signing. It's nothing that's going to blow you away. It's just a depth piece, potential guy to fight for a roster spot. That's all this move was. All right, but the next move, which I didn't, why didn't I could have sworn I put it in here. Did I not? I really didn't put it in here. Okay. Oh. All right, the next move, because I didn't put it in here because I'm a buffoon and didn't want to do that. This was a good move. Should have put it in here. Gosh. All right. The Vikings, per Ari Amirov, have signed former Rams and Chargers linebacker Troy Reeder. Okay, this was a pretty solid move. Finally, the Minnesota Vikings do something and address their linebacker position. Had to release Eric Kendricks, who was our middle linebacker, longtime vet for the team, longtime captain. And it was basically just to clear up some cap space. We still have Jordan Hicks. We restructured his contract, kind of bring down the cap space a little bit more. But we have Troy Dye on the other side. Jordan Hicks and Troy Dye. We need replacements. We need somebody other than Jordan Hicks and Troy Dye, okay? You need 3 linebackers, plain and simple. So they go out, they sign Troy Reeder. This is a massive signing. I like it a lot, actually, because last season he was hurt, only 11 combined tackles. All right, but if you look at his previous year, his first season, 58 total tackles. Not too bad. In 2020, with the Rams, 81 tackles, 3 sacks. In 2021, 91 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions. Then last season, he gets hurt. But if he continues, or if he comes back after being injured and plays at the type of level that he was before he was injured, bro, perfect replacement for Eric Kendricks. Perfect. And we also have Brian Asamoah as well. So we probably have Brian Asamoah on one side, Jordan Hicks on the other, Troy Reeder in the middle. I like it. It's not it's a huge signing to kinda. But it just helps our linebacker core out. Like, I really want Bobby Wagner. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen at all, especially after this signing. We can probably kiss that goodbye, if I had to assume, unless we want to make a move or draft somebody. But getting Troy Reeder in the building was a must. I wish we would have focused on the linebacker position early on in free agency instead of now. Like, what are we doing? Like, why are we waiting? I mean, you could have picked up a lot of different players. Tremaine Edmonds, who went to the Bears, TJ Edwards or whatever, who also went to the Bears. I mean, there's people out there that was available. Like, why didn't we make a move? You know? But I like this. This is decent. And then the Vikings make another move. Pretty pumped about this. Pretty pumped. Even though we didn't use this man, like, at all last year, I think we signed him due to the fact that he's been here so long, he's cheap, and he embodies what it's like to be a Minnesota Viking. That's all you need to know. The Vikings have re-signed fullback C.J. Ham to a 2-year deal. I'm pumped about it. Let's go, C.J. Welcome back to the Minnesota Vikings. I wasn't for sure if we were going to keep him. I really wasn't. I thought after last season, or after watching last season, rarely using him, he had that one long run, if I do remember correctly. But I was like, okay, we probably don't need him. We can probably use Ty Chandler. We can use Kene Wong. We can use Alexander Madison or something like that. Or we can just have a single back formation and never use the fullback. Or we just move one of our tight ends, because we have a million tight ends on our roster currently. We could use one of them and slide him back as a fullback. But the Minnesota Vikings love C.J. Ham. The fans love C.J. Ham. He's been here his entire career. He went to Augustana in college, which I believe is in South Dakota, if I do believe so. I can't remember. Probably not. I gotta remember that. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But this was a massive signing. I like this one a lot. 2-year deal for C.J. Ham. He comes back. It's gonna be great to see him in a uniform or in the purple and gold. Not sure how long his career is going to go. Probably these 2 years. Decides to hang it up. How you doing? Keep moving. Unless he wants to, continue to go, which I believe he has some left in the tank. But it didn't say. I can look how much he got paid. I don't believe it said. Yeah, they haven't even picked it up. No, it hasn't said. So the compensation yet for C.J. Ham is a mystery, but just know he is back with the Minnesota Vikings. How you doing? Keep it moving. Skol, baby. I don't think it would be much either. 2 years, $6 million, whatever the case may be. I think that's kind of what you're looking at currently. But anyway, shout out to everyone who's tuning in, man, whether that's on Facebook or on YouTube. Make sure to drop that like, share, subscribe, whatever you want to. Don't share on YouTube. Please and thank you. Do not share on YouTube. But just subscribe on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, quality's garbage. Probably is. I apologize. If you want better quality, hop on over to Get Your Fix with the Wicks on YouTube. But I shout out to everyone tuning in tonight. We are having a blast. We've been on for about an hour right now, but we still have more to talk about. I'm telling you, this is absolute chaos. Free agency has been absolute chaos. We've actually talked about a lot. We still have some to talk about, like this one, for instance. Denzel Perryman is apparently on the move. Per Ian Rappaport, the Houston Texans add again, this time signing former Raiders linebacker Denzel Perryman. Sources say the disruptive Pro Bowler had 154 tackles in 2021 and 14 tackles for loss last year. Now gets a one-year deal in Houston for DeMeco Ryans. Denzel Perryman finds his home. The Houston Texans continue to make moves after moves. If we look at all the notes, even though I got too many of them, if we want to count how many moves they have made, 1, 2, not too shabby. Okay, 3, 4, 5, excuse me. A lot. I'm just going to stop counting there. Okay, let's just say they've made a lot of moves, probably over 8 or whatever the case may be. But they add Denzel Perryman. Let's go check out what he's done in his career so far up to this point. And I don't believe he's a game changer by any means, but I do believe he has a high motor. He plays fast and plays well. Last season with the Raiders, 83 combined tackles, 1 sack, 2 interceptions. Not too bad. Not too bad if I do say so myself. In 2021 with the Raiders, 154 tackles. He's a dog when it comes to stopping the run game, maybe stopping the crossing routes over the middle for receivers and stuff like that. Denzel Perryman finds his way with a one-year deal for the Houston Texans. Okay, good for Denzel Perryman. What's that, A-Rules? I believe I will look. Okay. So we signed a 4-year, $19.8 million contract with the Detroit Lions. That would have been 2 years ago. So this is his... Okay, so we haven't signed him. We're going to have to give him an extension because this is currently his last year on his contract for TJ Hockenson. Next year he becomes an unrestricted free agent. So we have to sign him. But yeah, no, you're good. Don't worry about it. So we're going to have to sign him to an extension. Obviously, Justin Jefferson's going to have to get signed to an extension as well. It's going to be a big offseason, but I think the Vikings are like in the top 10 for most cap space next year or something like that. So we have a lot of money to spend for next season. So it would make sense that we get it done. But yeah, Hawkinson's on his last year of his deal. Yeah, so it's after this. This is his last season. Last season. As soon as the season's over, boom, he becomes an unrestricted free agent after a certain date or something like that. So yeah, so we would have to sign him as ASAP, basically, if that makes sense. All right, move forward. This one was kind of cool. Oh, did I forget to add? No way. I did. All right. Bear with me one sec. Dearness Johnson. Okay. I'm going to hop on right here. I forgot to do something, so I'm just going to pull it up and make sure it's on there real quick. I knew I was forgetting to do something earlier. This is hilarious. I forgot to put a picture up. But we're going to get it done right now. Ooh. How you doing? Keep it moving. Let's add. Boom. Boom. I'm glad this is quick because when sometimes if I would have started this like brand new software today, it would have sucked. but I've been running with this software for quite some time. So we'll go like this. Boom. Okay, well, there we go. All right. This was a kind of a cool signing. I like it. I think John will like it. I think other people will as well. If you know who this guy is, he was fun to watch, to say the least. Per Adam Schefter, former Browns free agent running back D'Ernest Johnson reached agreement on a one-year deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars per source. I like this move massively. I think D'Ernest Johnson is a dog. He's done some good things in his past. When he came in and had to run for an injured Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, he did exactly what he was supposed to do. In 2021, 100 carries, 534 yards, 3 tutties, averaged 5.3 on the ground. Not too bad, 19 catches. He did exactly what he needed to do. He was explosive. He was flying around making plays. That's all you can ask for, especially for a guy that third stringer, probably a practice squad guy. The Jacksonville Jaguars got a good one, a reliable one, I think, and we'll kind of see where his career goes from there. But every time, I guess the only time that he had the opportunity to start, he showed that he's capable of playing at a high level in the greatest league in the world, okay? The National Football League. So D'Ernest Johnson ends up with the Jacksonville Jaguars on a one-year contract. Shout out to him. Let's go. All right, what's up? A rules. All right, I got to read your comment real quick. TJ's agent is going to like, for real. Yeah, no, TJ Hockenson is going to get paid. TJ Hockenson is going to get paid, but Justin Jefferson is going to get a massive payday, like even more. I cannot wait to see what that is. Better be 5 years, $300 million. Please. Has to be. Just to let you know, Trey, in case you're streaming tomorrow, I won't be on, in fact. Won't be on until next week. Busy. Okay. Yeah, I've been there. Hey, no worries. No, I will not be on tomorrow. I will not be on tomorrow. I have a package coming in the mail that I have to drive about 45 minutes for back to my hometown to grab, and I really, really want it. Like, really, really bad. You guys will see why on Friday. But will not be on tomorrow. Maybe, actually. We'll see. Depends on how fast I go there and get back. Maybe I can, muster up something we can just talk about. We can look at Twitter, scroll through Twitter. We can scroll through Twitter and kind of see what happened throughout the day and kind of show it off there. But I don't think I'm going to be on tomorrow. There's a good chance I will make a video. If I'm not live, I will definitely make a video and find a way to make that work. But yeah. But Sunday for sure. Sunday I will be doing the XFL live stream, which is, I believe there's 2 of them. There's one at 1 p.m. and then I think there's one at 7. Yeah, okay, so one at 2 p.m. on Sunday. Yeah, so Sunday there's one at 2 p.m. and then Monday at 6 p.m. So I'll be doing both those games. The Saturday games I will not be doing. I will be busy. Daniel Mace says Magic is buying the Commanders. Not a chance. I did hear that name flutter around, but it doesn't seem like it. They actually put a name now to the organization and what might be happening with the Washington Commanders. That whole situation is just weird. Like, I don't know. You just, no more poop pipe bursting on people, okay? We can't have fans getting soaked in shit, all right? That just can't happen. That is nasty. You can't, I mean, yeah, and then railings falling, damn near ending Jalen Hurts' career. Like, what are we doing, right? There's a lot to fix over there, and I hope they do. I hope they get on the right track. All right, moving forward, we talked about D'Ernest Johnson. Now we have another massive signing. I really wanted the Vikings to make this move because I thought it was going to be a decent one. He would have been a wide receiver 3 for us. You have Justin Jefferson. You have KJ Osborne on one side, and then you have this guy at the slot receiver, or maybe he works his way to the number 2 guy, but I think he's been really consistent throughout his entire career. Anyways, at least up to this point. But the Jets, after adding Allen Lazard, all these rumors about potentially having Aaron Rodgers getting traded to them, which haven't heard much on that front yet. I think they're still trying to work out contract or work out the trade compensation basically and try to pull him in. But they're definitely doing one hell of a job of making sure Aaron Rodgers, when he gets there, that he has weapons. Per Adam Schefter and Jeremy Fowler, McCole Hardman has agreed to terms with the New York Jets on a 1-year deal. More speed for Cleveland's offense. The Jets now add a player to run jet sweeps and more. McCole Hardman is a dog. At one point, he did follow my personal Instagram. That was a pretty cool moment. Seeing the notification popped up, I said, wait a minute. Okay, who's this? When clicked, he instantly unfollowed because he realized, wrong guy. And it makes sense. It's okay. No hard feelings, whatever. I don't care about it. But I love McCole Hardman. I think he plays hard. I really wanted the Vikings to get him. Only 297 yards last season, 4 tutties. But in 2021, he was a dog. Okay, 693 yards, 2 tutties. Not too shabby. Averages over 11 yards per reception and stuff like that. He's used on the jet sweeps, the slots, or he's using the slot for quick slants, little curl routes and stuff like that. You're really not going to see him be a guy who's just going to run past you on a deep route. He will every once in a while, but I think this is a great addition for the New York Jets. Now you're looking at Allen Lazard at the 1, Allen Lazard at the 1, Garrett Wilson at the 2, McCole Hardman at the 3. The top 2, Allen Lazard, Garrett Wilson, that'll be interesting to see what they do 1 or 2 wise. But I really, you think so? You think so? Let me look up his 40. Even though that doesn't tell you anything. Game speed is completely different compared to 40-yard dashes. But why is there no space? There we go. Okay. 4.33. Sheesh. Okay, fast as shit. That's what we like. Jets got a burner. Jets got a burner at wide receiver. I like it. He actually ends up getting a 1-year deal worth $6.5 million, or I think it's up to $6.5 million or something like that. So probably a base value of about $4.5, $5 million. Then he has those incentives, which is probably like $1.5 million, $2 million, whatever the case may be, something like that. But McCole Hardman, the Jets are going to be scary next year. What do you guys think of the Jets? What do you think of the Jets? They're definitely going to get Aaron Rodgers, whenever that trade gets figured out. But they're moving in the right direction. Bob Saleh. Okay, their head coach. He's got some dogs over there, man. I mean, you got DJ Reed on defense. And right next to him, you got Ahmad Sauce Gardner. I mean, defensive rookie of the year. Their defense is young, flying around. They have guys on the defensive front that, is fantastic. And you look at their offensive line. Elijah Vera Tucker's still there. They have a young offensive line, I think, and they're molding well. We have to build that chemistry because chemistry on the offensive line is a massive piece to success, or it depends how much the more chemistry you have on the offensive line probably shows why you're having success later on in the season. And then you figure out your quarterback situation. If you bring in Rodgers, you got your wide receivers. You have CJ Uzomah at the tight end position. I like it. Hey, peace out, A-Rules. Thank you for tuning in today. We're almost done, sort of. Not really. No, we are. We're almost done. But yeah, the Jets are gonna be interesting, man. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the Jets bring to town. The New England Patriots seem like they're dead last in that division, especially with all the moves that have been made up to this point. All right, another big one. Trade of the day, because it was the only one. Massive news. Massive news. And I know Logan Baumgart, if he's watching, if he's not watching, I know that he is pumped about this because we talked about it in the chat. The Cleveland Browns are trading to receive Elijah Moore. The Browns' new wide receiver is Elijah Moore. Sources, the Browns are trading for Jets speedy wide receiver Elijah Moore, a new threat in Cleveland. So the Jets, in turn, will get the number 42 pick for Elijah Moore, and the Browns will also get pick number 74. So I think they flip-flopped around second-round pick and a third-round pick, basically, and then Elijah Moore to the Browns as well. But this is a massive signing, a good one. There was a lot of talks of potentially him going to Green Bay for the trade package for Aaron Rodgers. That's not going to happen anymore. Cleveland was also in talks for potentially getting or trading for Jerry Jeudy from the Denver Broncos. That's probably not going to happen anymore. Kind of interested to see how this is going to pan out. I know Deshaun Watson didn't have a great season last year. Yeah. Right? Like it was mind-blowing to me as well. But if we look at Elijah Moore real quick, he's been fantastic. Sort of. Not great. 37 catches last year, 446 yards, and a tutty, averaged 12.1. But in his first year, so he's only been in the league 2 years, this will be his third year, at 538 yards, 5 tutties, averaged 12.5 per catch. So you're gonna get it. You're gonna get a speedy, type of receiver. Deshaun Watson's gonna love it. What do they have? Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, and who the hell's the other guy? Cleveland Browns depth chart. I thought that was the wrong one for a second. Okay, there you go. Thank you. All right, so Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and Elijah Moore. David Njoku. Those are their 4 weapons. And then you got Nick Chubb in the backfield. I mean, this team, they're set up for success. Now they have to figure out how to do it, like how to go on a run. Deshaun Watson has to have a better season this year. Has to. But here's a little we're going to look at the compensation and what Cleveland kind of has to pay Elijah Moore. I don't believe, it's not much at all. This is cheap. Very, very cheap before a potential contract extension for him if he stays on the Browns, or he can just walk away and get money elsewhere. But this is per Field Yates. The Browns will owe wide receiver Elijah Moore the following over the next 2 years. In 2023, $1.472 million. In 2024, $1.879 million. Cheap as hell. This is a fantastic trade. All you have to do is get rid of the 42nd overall pick for a speed demon at wide receiver and a 3rd round pick. How you doing? Keep it moving. Elijah Moore is officially a Cleveland Brown. I like this pickup. Logan, if you're watching, if you're not watching, I know you're excited. And hopefully you guys can, watch Lamar Jackson leave the league and then just focus on Cincinnati. Since the Steelers will be pretty good, decent, or at least defensively. But Cleveland could be headed in the right direction. Now it's all going to be dependent on Deshaun Watson, how he decides to perform. John said it today early in Snapchat. What did he say? I will pull it up real quick. John's one of my mods in here as well, longtime friend. Let's see right here. He said, they shouldn't have thrown Deshaun Watson out there last season. Might have fucked with his confidence. Had no team chemistry. Bad decision to do that. He needed the entire offseason and some preseason. I think it will get a lot smoother this year. So that's some good. You can look at that's upside for that potential move. Excuse my language there, but I really don't care. So it is what it is. But I like it. I think this year will be a lot better for Deshaun Watson. I think he has more upside. He's had time now to kind of digest the scheme, the plays, the play sheet and stuff like that. And he's getting weapons, man. That's all you can ask for. That is all you can ask for. Boxing says a round 2 pick and a 3 is steep, but they're looking for solid season this year by this trade. Absolutely. So Elijah Moore ends up with the Cleveland Browns. All right, just a couple more moves before we scroll on the old Twitter to see what we missed before or as we started the show. So shout out to everyone for tuning in again. Make sure to drop that like, subscribe to the channel. If you're on Facebook, make sure to hit that like and send out a share. Don't share if you're on YouTube, please and thank you. Why'd I cross that out? All right, so the Las Vegas Raiders the other day made a pretty interesting move, if I do say so myself. Remember, I was pretty butthurt about it. Not really butthurt, but just kind of questioning why the hell they did that move. But they go out and they sign tight end O.J. Howard. That's because they got rid of or traded Darren Waller, one of the top 5 tight ends in the NFL, to the Giants. And then they signed O.J. Howard. So I go look up at his stats, and I'm like, what the hell are we doing? Dude's garbage. Absolute booty cheeks. Former first-round picks, and he's a bust, okay? That is all you need to know about O.J. Howard. He's never lived up to the hype. Never been good. Probably never will be. Sorry about it. I'm not in the NFL, and trust me, I'm not good, okay? But look, they still had Dalton Schultz on the board. Dalton Schultz was available, and they chose O.J. Howard. However, I think they fixed it, sort of, kind of, by making this signing earlier today. This is per Ari Mirov. The Raiders are signing veteran tight end Austin Hooper. He was in for a visit earlier this morning. Raiders continue to add as they work to replace Darren Waller. Yeah, you're gonna have to work you're gonna have to work quite a bit to replace Darren Waller. Okay, top 5, potentially top 3 tight end in the league. You trade his ass to the New York Giants. What are we doing? What is he, too expensive? He's one of the best tight ends in the league. Did you guys butt heads? Apparently, there's a rumor. Okay, this is a complete rumor. Darren Waller gets married. Doesn't invite Josh McDaniels to the wedding. All I'm saying is there might be some bad blood. There might be some bad blood there. Okay? So he does that. And they trade him the day after his wedding. And now they're stuck with trying to find replacements for it when, long story short, good luck. Good luck trying to find or try to replace Darren Waller. Austin Hooper's good and all. He's not Darren Waller. O.J. Howard definitely isn't no Darren Waller. So I don't understand it. I like this signing for him because it kind of helps, but they're kind of at loss. Like Jimmy Garoppolo needed Darren Waller. Imagine Jimmy G, Darren Waller, Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Hunter Renfrow. Team would have been pretty fun. What's up, Daniel? Yeah, boxing won't. No wedding invite says it all. Absolutely. Like Josh McDaniels like, oh, okay. Well, have fun in New York. And Darren said, I will. Deuces. But it is what it is. It's kind of a sour little move. But here's the compensation for Austin Hooper per Mike Garafolo. He says 1-year deal for $2.75 million with upside to about $3.5 million. So you can make up to $3.5 million for the two-time Pro Bowler Austin Hooper, but the deal is basically $2.75 million for Austin Hooper. Not a bad deal. Not a bad deal at all. Cheap. Very, very cheap for the Las Vegas Raiders. They add another tight end to the bunch. All right. Also, offensive lineman Jermaine Ifedi signs a 1-year deal to go back to the Atlanta Falcons today. Not too bad of a deal. Good for him. The offensive line in Atlanta is trying to stay somewhat intact, so not too shabby. Not too shabby indeed. Now it's time to go check the old Twitter to see what we may have missed up to this point. It started at 6. It's been an hour. Let's see what happened. Let's see what happened. All right. Go to the insiders. Let's scroll down. Okay. Oh boy, we might have some big news. Maybe. Okay, seen that. Oh, can I play this? Probably not. It'll probably get taken down. Okay, so this is kind of I'll play it anyways. So hopefully it's loud enough. This is kind of a little thing on C.J. Stroud. He impressed with his command of the show during, that's 2 minutes? Sure. Of his showing at Ohio State's Pro Day.
Yeah, Laura, I was so impressed with his aggressiveness. Normally we come to these pro days and quarterbacks like to kind of get warmed up with the shorter throws, screens, bubbles, quick slants, quick outs. His first 20-plus throws were vertical on both rails, the right sideline, the left sideline, and he was doing it with different trajectory. He was running, letting receivers run under the ball. Then he.
All right, so he had a good day. I'm not gonna play all of it. Don't need to get copyright or anything like that. But I guess C.J. Stroud had a very impressive pro day. So did Jackson Smith, Najiba. Probably butchered it. I can't say that last name. I'd have to hear it said out loud. But he's everything that is needed to play wide receiver at high level at the NFL. Jackson has a very elite level. Okay, not too shabby. Good for him. Oh boy, this is from Foster Moreau. This ain't good. Tight end, I believe. No, something. This is not good. So thoughts and prayers to Foster Moreau, but I'm going to read what he said. It says, through somewhat of a miraculous process, this free agency period has been life-changing for me. During a routine physical conducted by the Saints medical team down in New Orleans, I've come to learn that I have Hodgkin's lymphoma and will be stepping away from football. At this time to fight a new opponent, cancer, I'm grateful for the support and thankful for people who had stood firm with me. There hasn't been a single step I've taken without hundreds of people lighting the path before me, and I will continue to seek their guidance. That being said, I'll go kick this thing's ass and get back to doing what I love. AMDG, whatever that means. But that's bummer. Foster Moreau has cancer. Yeah, God bless him is correct. I hope for a speedy recovery, man. That is not good. You don't like anybody getting cancer. I don't care who it is. If it's your worst enemy, if it's your best friend. You don't wish that upon anybody. Cancer is not great. So hopefully Foster Moreau can have a speedy recovery And hopefully he finds his way back into the National Football League. Because I know he was on a couple people's radar, or a couple people's radars, but he's taken a step away, and you have to. You got to put your health first and stuff like that. So best wishes, thoughts and prayers to Foster Moreau and his family as he tries to battle Hodgkin's lymphoma. Okay. Man, that sucks. That sucks. Let's move away. Yeah, he's the tight end. Okay. I thought so. Man. Well, at least they found it now. Hopefully they found it early enough. I hope. So far, it doesn't look like too much has popped off. We really haven't missed nothing other than that whole Foster Moreau situation. So there has been nothing that has happened since we started this show at 6 p.m., which is pretty good. But there was a lot to talk about today. I'm glad we dove through the whole thing. It's been a blast, man. It has been a blast. Free agency has been phenomenal. It has been crazy, to say the least. And I couldn't be more excited to do it with y'all watching live. If you are here and you haven't dropped a like, make sure to do that now. Also, subscribe to the channel. We're 3 away from 260. You definitely don't have to. You definitely do not have to subscribe. But it would be much appreciated if you want endless amounts of NFL content. We also cover some of the XFL. We mainly do their games until I learn more, until I get more familiar with that league. Then I'll cover that later on. But there's been a lot happening in free agency. We'll continue to report on it. We will not be here tomorrow. For sure, we'll have to have a video out 7 p.m. I don't know. We'll figure it out. If there's not a video, just be understanding, okay? I will for sure be back on Friday at 6 p.m. to dive through what I missed on Thursday and what happened on Friday as well. It's going to be a blast. Saturday will be off. Sunday back on with the XFL streams. It has been a fantastic time here with you guys watching. Again, drop that like. Subscribe to the channel. If you're on Facebook, share it. Drop a like. And hopefully you guys had a fantastic day. I will see you guys most likely Friday, or if I drop a video tomorrow. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Fantastic rest of your day. And you just got your fix with the Wicks.